Well, good morning, Sean, Leslie for Dummies. It's Christmas Eve. So I'll start off by saying if I don't see you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And don't eat too much. We all know that's a problem. But anyways, today I just wanted to do the third and final test on my Hdr50 regarding the pressure loss. So what I was gonna do today is a little bit different. I'm gonna throw you down on the table and show you kind of the process I'm just gonna go through quickly. I'm not gonna go through a bunch of barrels. Not going to use CO2 because my lazy butt didn't get up out of the house yesterday. I could not bring myself to go out into that madness. I think HBA will demonstrate it regardless. And regarding the pressure loss, I mean, this is a revolver. Revolvers have existed for years in gunpowder form, and just one Google of revolver injuries or tests, and I mean, they demonstrate the amount of blow-by in a firearm that comes out of the drum in a revolver. It's an age-old issue with them, but even a caliber as small as 22 caliber long range that I just looked up this morning has a pressure of 25,000 PSI. So that goes hand in hand with kind of where I was going with, well, at 750, 800 PSI, it wasn't enough to overcome the barrel length before it started to blow at the rear, and that wastes forward momentum. So let's have a look at the table. I'll show you quickly what I'm gonna do, and then we'll just through them, hoping to demonstrate an energy difference. All right, so here's the HDR I'm going to use. Same one I've been using. It's got a tuning barrel here. I'm not going to bother with the tuning extension. I'm going to go right to the sniper extension because this demonstrates exactly what I'm talking about. Normally, we want to bore match our projectiles very precisely. It gets the best output. But in this case, because there is a place for all that air to escape, it's not necessarily a good thing in the HDR. And now I'm not knocking the HDR by any means. There's plenty of videos out there showing this is a great launcher. This is a process that I go through to decide what I'm gonna do with my build. Pistol, rifle, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of picked through some of these factors to come to realization what is best suited for this launcher. All right, so this is a 12.7 millimeter, 8.4 gram ball bearing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug one end of the barrel here. First of all, let's show you that it goes through. Goes through no problem. What you can't hear is kind of the whirring noise as it goes through there because it is so tightly matched. Now, watch what happens when I plug the end. See that? One more time. I know we've demonstrated this kind of stuff before, but it's more important now than ever on the HDR. Slowly going away, and then when I loosen my finger, it's gone. Now, on Defense 24, 8 gram ball bearings. These are 12.5 millimeters, so they are 0.2 smaller. I'm gonna do the same test. I'm gonna plug my finger in the end. See how quickly they go through? That is because there's a lot of air blowing by those. Now, point here being, when you start adding extensions, if the air can't get by that projectile because it is so nicely bore matched, it's gonna go backwards and you're gonna lose forward momentum. So my theory is that if you do use just a slightly undersized projectile in the HDR50, that we might realize more energy potential. I don't know that that is going to be the case. So what I'm going to do today, instead of using my Tippmann, this is 950 PSI. Issue with this is I have to keep refilling it. And for the purposes of this final test, I don't want to, it's kind of a pain in the ass to keep filling this thing up. And when you do fill these balls up, they do heat up. So I was having to, set it aside for a few minutes so it would cool down just to not skew the results. So instead, we're just going to use a 26 CI today. Should have sufficient air. It's pumped to 3 to do this entire test. And we will also just do a pressure test quick. This should be about 800 PSI. So it's a little bit more than that Tippmann bottle, but it shouldn't make that much difference. It's a tick over, bubble, get out of the way. Probably like 820. No, actually that's, like 820. The bottle is bright full. Once I bang off a couple of shots here, it'll even out. But again, I don't think that's gonna skew the results. I'm just trying to demonstrate that too tight a bore match in the HDR is not a good thing if we're searching for that infinite number. All right, so I'm gonna load this drum that's in here is the 12.5 millimeters, 8 grams. Yeah, let's start. I'll save those for the second mag. So I'm gonna load up the 12.7 millimeters first. You guys might ask yourself, why am I so hell-bent on this? Well, it's because I want to use the 12.7, so I'm looking for the optimum efficiency here. All right, and so I'm going to set this one over on side here. Adapter, thread the tank in, and away we go. 26 CI, 800 PSI, 820. And sniper barrel that is very nice and tightly bore matched, like perfection to 12.7 millimeter ball bearings. And you know what, actually? Because this bottle was just freshly pumped, I'm gonna just dry fire a couple of shots. I think those first shots always are a little skewed anyways. Well, I guess that's to be expected. There wasn't any no drum in there. All right, so these are 12.7 millimeter. $298. $306. $286. $286. $316. How many more we got in there? I think one more. Can't count 6. 302. Indeed, that was the last one. Okay. So at the end of this, I'm going to calculate those joules, and I'll do an average too, I think, and I'll put it on the screen. But the main thing that I saw there was, at this kind of pressure, I think it should have been more consistent than that, and that plays into air blowing out the drum. So what we're going to do is use a 12.5 millimeter next, and what I'm expecting to see is a more consistent number, because instead of kind of those balls just maybe hanging up a little bit in there and doing whatever they do, that this air is just gonna blow right by them and hopefully maybe net some more energy. Obviously, this is gonna be probably higher feet per second because they're only 8-gram balls. But the overall calculation at the end of energy should be higher with the 12.5s. If everything goes as planned, of course. Okay, 12.5. $300. $322. $310. $304. $316. Oh, there's a hot shot, and that was the last one. Well, it wasn't exactly what I expected. It is actually pretty much all over the place too. But I think the real answer is going to be when I do the calculation. So give me 1 second. After hours of deliberation, just kidding, couple of minutes. I'll put it on the screen so it's easier to see. Anyways, just the end numbers here. So the 12.7 millimeters, yeah, added all the velocity together, got the joules, divided by 6. 12.7 averaged 34.75. Did the same for the 12.5, and they average higher by 2 or 3 joules. Not much, right? And it's not. It really isn't. I'm nitpicking. I really am. But as things progress, those numbers, you know, they might answer some questions that I have that cause me grief down the road. Does 3 joules matter? Not really. Not really at all. And who's to say there are some variances in the ball bearings, in the barrel. There are a lot of things that play part in, you know, chasing this ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal for me isn't 150 joules, but I want the best performance from the smallest package, I guess you could say. I'm gonna take this sniper extension off. I'm gonna use the same sniper extension, and I'm gonna put it on my HDP50 with the same bottle. Like this. So one thing this test didn't do for me was, I was expecting that running the smaller projectile, I would have seen a better consistency with this sniper extension. So I was assuming that that more blow-by would not cause the velocities to kind of jump up and down. But see, now that may mean more to the fact that it's a revolver. I mean, it does have a barrel seal there, but unlike, you know, some of the more conventional, well, this is a conventional type of system. This is a blow forward firing system, but the bolt itself doesn't enter the barrel. Many of the 68 caliber launchers that I have, the bolt actually physically enters the barrel. So the pressure loss is much less than a system like this with an open drum. So we're gonna test it with the HDP50 because it has a barrel seal. It has a gate, a loading gate that closes here. It's not an airtight seal, but it does keep the CO2 or the HPA going in the right direction. So our best number with the 12.7 on the HDR was a 316. These are 12.7 in here. Enough said. Damn, this thing hits like a hammer. And do you see how consistent it is? This right here was what I was trying to find, and proves that there is air loss in an HDR. Doesn't make it a bad launcher at all. It is a great launcher. In fact, I really do like it. There are pros and cons to either of these, and they can both be made into whatever your heart desires. So moving forward, these tests were meant for myself to find where that deficiency was, and that's all there is to it, guys. It's not, don't buy this one, don't buy that one, or I hate this one, I hate that one. Please. I like all markers. Before anybody says anything about it going in the rear of the marker, I'm going to try it in the bottom of the marker. Raise 66. Raise 64. Well, that one dropped a little. Actually more powerful at the bottom. So maybe this, when I'm not using this as a bottle, is adding a little volume. Nonetheless, the consistency is there. Barrel seal, yada, yada, yada. The only thing maybe I didn't touch on was I'm using these steel ball bearings. They are heavy. Could a lighter projectile behave differently in the HDR? Maybe it's better for it. That is a very good possibility. And again, I can't test for everything. I'm testing for what I want to use in particular. So that's it, guys. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And yeah, I'm probably gonna be making some videos, but I don't know if I'm gonna drop any over Christmas. Maybe let me know in the comments if you want to take a break or not. See you on the next one.